Okay, so here's Bernie Sanders, an article from Common Dreams. So Bernie Sanders, once again, is the top Democrat in New Hampshire. So he's enjoying his new rise, especially in the polls. Sanders is now first place with 26%. Pete Buttigieg is in second. Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Elizabeth Warren are tied for third. Sanders has been increasing numbers, especially gaining more points since September. And Sanders has retaken a strong lead amongst those under 50 in New Hampshire, and now leading with 38% from that group. And as members of the Bernie Sanders campaign has noted, the Emerson poll emerged today was just one day after the New York Times ran this headline: "Did New Hampshire fall out of love with Bernie Sanders?" Oh no, the New York Times got something wrong. Oh, whatever will we do?
Never happens.
God, that's such a piss poor title anyways. Did New Hampshire fall out of love with Bernie Sanders? And then the next day, Bernie Sanders is number one. Oh, gee, great investigative journalism, New York Times. I'm so happy that the American public has such keen-eyed eagles on that wall, making sure that we're informed every single day about what's happening. Once again proves why we need independent media.
Well, but Kit, it's only fair. They're going to lose reputation. Oh, right, no one cares.
No one gives a shit. That's the truth of it. So right now, and again, also there's a polling data showing that many voters agree that Bernie Sanders is the best advocate and fighter for Medicare for all, and Bernie Sanders leads the way more clearly on dealing with the true threat that is climate change. And in Iowa on Tuesday, the campaign released a new ad focused on the state that featured a new rallying cry for the campaign: Big Us. Bernie Sanders is in the pocket of hashtag Big Us supporters online were saying as they shared the ad and the message on social media, pass it on, proving again that Bernie Sanders is the leading candidate. He is the person who I feel, in my opinion, should get the nomination and is really the true front runner in this primary race. Because if we want to beat Trump, you need someone who's been consistent with his policies and politics for 40 years.
Agreed.
He was on point on everything. He was on the correct issue. He had a correct stance on every single issue during the past decades about dealing with marriage inequality, LGBTQ rights, climate change, rebuilding our infrastructure, getting out of these foreign wars, rebuilding, making sure we get big money out of politics. I mean, Bernie Sanders has been on point. He is addressing the reason why we need to have Medicare for all. Bernie Sanders is our candidate. He's the guy. He's the one who could bring in political reform. He can take on Trump. These other candidates, not so much. Biden, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, they're neoliberal centrists. They will fail miserably at it. Kira, Daniel, I want to get to your opinion.
Absolutely. I agree. Crazy. No, absolutely. I think that when going back to that Obama story earlier, one of the big things that they talk about, they repeated a couple times in the article, was that Obama's main focus is getting Trump out of office. And I think the ironic part about all of that is I really believe that Bernie is the guy to get Trump out of office. I think that we've already played the game of neoliberal, paid off candidate, Wall Street candidate, all of that. And we saw the outcome already of that play. And that was that Trump won. So if we do that again, I think that we can probably expect the same outcome, or at least, I just don't want a nail biter. Come on, let's just get Bernie in and win this thing.
No, I'm going to speak for what is apparently a human body, which is Hardlands Media, the company. Hardlands Media, the human company, probably wants a nail biter. But no, I agree. It would be nice if Bernie. You know, I would really like if, let's assume Sanders either takes first or second in Iowa. Just say first. He then takes first in New Hampshire, which he's polling towards. Takes first in Nevada, and then let's say he gets first or second in South Carolina. And somehow Joe Biden leaves the race somewhere around New Hampshire because then I win that pizza bet. At some point, I would love to see a time where progressive news is going around to the Kamala or whoever's still in, Buttigieg if they're still in, and just say, hey, why are you dropping out? I would love to flip that narrative from 2016 right back on them. This is, we're at a spot where all of this could happen.
Also, unknown space pioneer, crush Obama and Trump under the weight of Big Us. I couldn't agree more,
I like
guys.
that.
Because here's the idea. We got to retake our political system because this political system only works for the top 1%. The establishment, they're all friends with each other. And Bernie Sanders wants to bring in change. And that's just that simple. So let's bring in this change. Let's make it happen. Let's get involved in this election cycle.